So why, on a day in which there have been more terror arrests across Europe, do the nations of Europe produce such domestic, homegrown extremists? We're joined from Brussels now by the writer and youth worker Bleri Lleshi, and here with me in the studio, Peter Neumann, Professor of Security Studies at King's College, London. Bleri Lleshi, Belgium's a small country. Why are there so many extremists?
Well, actually, there are a couple of reasons. The main reason, in my opinion, is the socio-economic situation of migrants here in Belgium. According to figures from OSCE, we have at this moment nowhere in no other country in Europe less migrants active on the labor market, and the discrimination and racism are also huge problems at the moment. If you look at Brussels, for example, we have neighborhoods where you have almost 50% of the youth who doesn't have a job. 30% of the population is living in poverty. So actually, we cannot offer perspectives to youth with a migrant background. I can give you a more clear example. At this very moment, there are hundreds of children that cannot go to school because there are not enough schools in Brussels. But secondly, there is another reason. There is the fact, actually, that when we see what the West is doing in the Arab world, then it's very bad. It's bad in the sense that we are supporting dictators as Gaddafi or Saddam Hussein. We start wars as in Afghanistan or Iraq, and this has an impact on the youth. They are revolted by what they see, and they easily fall victim to recruiters of Al-Qaeda or IS who play on these images, and they say, look what's happening, look what's happening to Muslims and in other places in the world.
Peter Neumann, I mean, those foreign policy issues may be the same here, but socially, I mean, you know, the jihadi fighters are not generally coming from very poor, deprived backgrounds.
Well, some are not, but there are plenty of them who do, and you can see that across Europe. And what always happens is that you have that sense of grievance of not being fully accepted into society, no longer belonging necessarily to the culture and to the countries of your parents or grandparents, but not being fully accepted into Western society.
But we all see pictures of these big, you know, some of them come from big houses, relatively affluent, you know, good education.
There have been a couple of studies in a number of European countries. For example, in Germany, it was found that really 80% did come from deprived areas. Perhaps because those are, you know, so exceptional that we know about them when they don't come from deprived backgrounds.
I mean, Obama today was talking about there being more integration of Muslim communities in America than there are here, and that maybe that's an explanation as to why there
and it's
seem to be fewer.
Absolutely astonishing that America, which from a foreign policy perspective is the hub of all evil, has, compared to Europe, produced very, very few homegrown terrorists.
Bleri Lleshi, I mean, what do you do about this then? I mean, you know, it's not as simple as tackling poverty, is it?
Well, what we should do about it, actually, I think, first of all, here in Belgium, but all over Europe, we should offer a perspective right here, right now, to these young people so they don't go to fight in Syria or elsewhere. And we can do this by offering, by bettering their social and economical situation, by really fighting the racism and discrimination all over Europe, but also by putting in question maybe the foreign policy of EU. As I said before, I mean, this has a very bad influence on the youth over here. And the last thing, I think also we should inform our Muslim youth much better on what Islam is. As we have seen in the case of UK, we have young people going to Syria, but before they leave their countries, they buy Islam for Dummies on Amazon. So if we do these three things, and if we focus also on the positive and the usual normal lives of Muslims all over Europe, I think we will go a step forward. Because at the very moment, if we have the figures of Europol, and they are very clear. Only 2% of terrorist attacks in Europe come from Muslims.
Yeah,
so
but isn't this
it is important that we make clear to.
Sorry to interrupt, but I mean, I just want to put you that this is a slightly naive view, isn't it? I mean, there is an alternative already out there being explained to them, which is normal, integrated life within Europe. And surely the idea that, you know, secular leaders can offer some sort of alternative vision for European Muslims is naive. I mean, they've got appealing messages coming to them from Islamic State, from Syria, from Iraq, from Yemen. You know, those are the people they are listening to right now.
So I didn't get the question.
Well, I'm saying, isn't it naive to think that you can be more appealing to those young Muslims in Belgium than the radical messages coming out of Iraq, Yemen, and Syria right now?
Yeah, but that is why I'm saying we should really offer a perspective to these young people here. I mean, nobody wants to leave their parents, their family, and so forth. But when you are in a bad situation, and also highly educated Muslim youth are being discriminated. I can give you figures. For example, if you are a white Belgian, and if you are highly educated, for 6% of them doesn't find a job. But if you are with a migrant background, almost 25% doesn't find a job. So the thing is that when you are in a poor situation, you are very easily brainwashed by these recruiters.
Okay.
So we should really inform the youth, stay close to them, and offer perspectives right here and right now in Europe.
Bleri Lleshi, Peter Neumann, I'm afraid we must leave it there. Thank you very much.